Oh no, the USA is going to default on our debt. Janet Yellen has outlined Congress emergency measures on debt limit. Oh no! Hey everybody, my name is JJ. You're watching Boom Bear Bust. So here's the headline. Can the United States default on our debt? Well, not really. Unless someone would be crazy enough, one of our leaders would be crazy enough to sign, or in this case, to not pass a new debt ceiling, or to not extend the emergency measures that were implemented about 2 years ago. But when you can create unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, there's really no reason to ever default, because you can always just print up more money, just add to the debt. But yet, here's the headline out of Yahoo Finance. Now, first of all, before we get started, please give us a quick like and subscribe. The powers that be seem to not want to get our videos at the top of the search results, if you know what I mean. Because we typically don't back up the mainstream narrative or what they want people to believe about this economy and the financial system. So please help us out if you can, if you like what we talk about here. It really means a lot. Okay, back into the news updates today. Excerpt out of this article. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told Congress on Friday that she will start taking emergency measures next week to keep the government from an unprecedented default on the national debt, warning that a default would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy and the livelihoods of all Americans. That's a quote. Irreparable harm affect the livelihoods of all Americans. Now, of course, when an economy is based on debt, then you have to have endless amounts of debt to keep that going. So, of course, they have to try to continuously raise the debt ceiling, continuously increase the debt. The Fed balance sheet can never be paid down or reduced. If it does, you're going to start seeing immediate consequences in the markets. And also, on top of that, if you stop issuing debt, you would see most jobs that Americans have today vanish, because most jobs that are here are based on consumer spending, and consumer spending is mostly based on debt and borrowing. And essentially what you would have is a big snowball effect. Once the debt stops, people couldn't borrow, and therefore most spending in the economy would stop, and that would cause jobs to be lost even faster than they're being lost now, and that would further create another economic slowdown because spending would slow down because of all the lost jobs. You see what I mean? So it's kind of like a vicious circle. All right, but back to this article. The debt limit has been suspended for the past 2 years, but will go back into effect July 31st. Now, for the last 2 years, there's been what's called emergency measures on the debt ceiling. Or in other words, the debt ceiling has been completely suspended, meaning there is no debt ceiling, which there really shouldn't be a debt ceiling to begin with. Because of the fiat money system, you can always create more money because it's not backed by anything. It's not based on any limitation or end. There's no limit. That's why we continually remind everybody that it's unlimited. So in a letter to House and Senate leaders, Yellen said her actions will buy time until Congress can pass legislation to either 1, raise the debt limit, or 2, suspend it again for a period of time. So they're talking about keeping it suspended or suspending it again. But if they don't, if one of those measures are not implemented, this article is making it sound like there's going to be some sort of default. Will there be a default? Well, unless you think that some lawmaker or leader is dumb enough to let this entire economic system implode on their watch, no, there will not be a default, because whoever allows this or doesn't pass the emergency measures is going to be looked at and is going to be the person to blame. No, I don't think the economy is going to implode. Yes, I think they're going to continue to increase the debt ceiling or pass emergency measures, which suspends the debt ceiling or keeps it suspended. Why? Because this entire system, this entire economy is based on never-ending amounts of debt being pumped into the system. A cycle of consumer spending, then some people file bankruptcy and discharge their debt, and then it continues on and on and on. You get the picture on that. Recent CNBC article, the rapid growth of the U.S. economy has seen is about to hit a wall. So what are they talking about? That sounds pretty serious. So when they say hit a wall, They don't mean that things are going to implode. What they're referring to is GDP, which is mostly based on what? Consumer spending, borrowing, and spending. You guessed it. Now, this is what chief economist for Moody's, Mark Santee, has said, quote, growth has peaked. The economy will slow a bit in the second half of the year, then more noticeably in the first half of 2022 after fiscal support fades. All right, let's stop right there. So does Mark Santee think that fiscal support is going to fade? And if he thinks it is going to fade, why does he think that? Right, so most of you know that these economists, they're usually never right. Things always change. Why are they never right? Because it's impossible to predict a manipulated market. Right, so Mr. Santee, no offense to him, but nobody knows what's going to happen next month, next year. There could be a $10 trillion emergency spending bill announced. There could be a new series, a new round of stimulus checks. With the Great Sickness 2.0 rolling out, there could be a new round of another year, year and a half, 2 years, who knows, another round of foreclosure moratoriums. Right, so no one knows the level of hands-on that's going to be implemented here. All right, so again, nothing that's going to definitely bring this economy down or turn it around. It's going to be more debt, more spending, more inflation. All right, so a lot of these articles are put out there to make people think that we need to be saved by some sort of lawmaker or person in Congress. And that gives people the feeling of helplessness, that we need these quote-unquote leaders to go ahead and save us and pass these emergency measures. All right, we're going to wrap this up today on Friday. The market's in the green today. All major indexes in the green. The Dow Jones up 238 to 35,061. You know the name of the game. Keep stacking, keep preparing. Stay well, everybody. Until next time, bye for now. Peace.